Welcome to a Garuda Doom of Depths companion deck. And the real commander is Lazav, but nobody cares about that.
We're going to show you how to win against all odds.
Because he likes evens. I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. If you know what that means, it means I'm going to ask you to subscribe right now, and I'm going to give a really good reason why you should.
Yeah. What is it?
They know.
And besides, you'll want to be subscribed to this channel because our subscribers are 10% less likely to miss with Garuda ever.
Disclaimer guy here. Just want to remind you Nitpicking Nerds are not responsible when you get really unlucky with Garuda.
So for the people who subscribe and then get this bonus, they'll never miss.
Never.
It's a yes, you will never miss, or no, you didn't get this.
They're 10% more likely to never miss.
Is it like you have a 1 in 100 chance of never missing? How does it work?
I don't know.
I hope Disclaimer guy has her back on this one because I'm really confused.
All right, so
we got Lazav as the commander and Garuda as the companion. We got to read both of them.
We're going to start with Garuda, the companion, because Garuda as a companion makes you need to build the deck differently. So let's start with what he does.
Yeah.
So Garuda, aka Gigon Cyber Claw Terror, which is a way more BA name. He is 4 Dimir Hybrid for Legendary Demon Kraken 6/6. It has companion, and that's what we're using him as. So this matters. Your starting deck contains only cards with even converted mana costs in them. If this card is your chosen companion, you may cast it once from outside the game. So he's not even in your 99. He's just sitting outside of the game.
He's your 101st card, but he has more text because 6/6 for 6 is lacking.
I mean, that's not where we build this deck. When he enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. Put a creature card with an even converted mana cost from among those cards onto the battlefield under your control.
So this gives you 16 looks, and if there's an even creature in any of those 16 cards, you get it right now for free with Gigan.
This deck has our deck has about 25 creatures, which makes it likely that you'll hit.
Right.
In our deck,
25% of the time, and you look at 4 cards. So I mean, you would assume that one of them is going to be a creature.
Yeah. By the time you do hit in your deck, and all your creatures are even. So.
Yeah, and keep in mind, if you're looking to recommend a card or cut a card, no odd CMC allowed. We cannot play any odd cards, no Soul Ring, no Burnished Heart, no Cyclonic something. I don't know.
No, you can't.
We can play Cyclonic Rift.
But we're not.
I was trying to think of a 5-drop, and then I said Cyclonic Rift. No Aether Gusts, no Shield Red. There we go. I went up the line. But we should probably read Lazav, too. It's Lazav Dimir Mastermind. Blue, black for a 3/3 hexproof. He's a shapeshifter. Whenever a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you may have Lazav become a copy of that card, except its name is Lazav, it's legendary in addition to its other types, and it has hexproof and this ability. So he can keep changing what he becomes.
Also, the original Lazav has hexproof. You didn't mention that, but he does.
He always has hexproof.
Yes.
He'll never stop having hexproof. This is going to be the biggest, coolest thing you mill with Garuda. You can play it before Garuda. It has hexproof, so it's not going to die. It's turn 4, no one's going to whip the board, and then when Garuda hits, boom, you're going to get 2 sweet things.
Yes, it is. Yep, it synergizes with our commander, which is why we put him in that command zone.
He's still the second in command. He's not really the commander. He's like the secretary.
Yes. So what is this deck trying to do, ultimately?
Well, we're going to try to get as many Garuda triggers. We like Garuda, so we're just going to try to maximize those triggers, see if we can do some like janky combo reanimator stuff.
Yeah, and we're going to do some janky combo reanimator stuff.
Nitpicking Nerds combining EDH and casual garbage.
That's
Subscribe.
I don't even know if it's EDH.
Combining highly tuned decks with casual garbage.
With casual garbage,
Yeah.
Yes. That's what we do best here.
Since 2018.
So what are the best and coolest? Because some of these aren't necessarily the best, but they're up there in the coolest.
Garuda hits. Well, we got Jingataxia's Core Augur. You may have heard of him. He's a 10-mana 5/4 with Flash. At the beginning of your end step, you draw 7 cards. Your opponent's hand sizes, though, they're -7, which makes them 0.
Yes. So unless they have something else that can up their hand size, they have no hand size, which means you're drawing 7 on that step, and they're discarding all their cards on cleanup.
Normally, pretty risky move. It's 10 mana, but Garuda makes it 0 mana,
which is super good for this deck. I think he's like the big boy. Like, this is the one I want to hit.
This is the strongest one, especially if you ramp it out and get like turn 4 Garuda. Okay, Jingataxia's. Hope you guys got something.
Yeah, exactly. Next, we have Consecrated Sphinx, which is a flyer for 6 mana, and it's a 4/6. And whenever an opponent draws a card, you can choose to draw 2, which you will.
This is one of the best cards in EDH in terms of how many cards you're going to draw. We had one in play earlier. It's like, yeah, everyone says, let's kill Consecrated Sphinx, but it doesn't always happen.
Yeah, we were talking about, it was funny, we were laughing because my friend goes, I can't kill it this turn, but I'll be able to kill it next go around. I'm like, yeah, after I've drawn 12 cards. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I'm like, it's just, you might as well not.
It's just too late.
try to win the game or board wipe or something. Next up, it's very similar. It's Styre of Stagnation. 4 blue, black for a 5/7 Eldrazi with one of the worst mechanics ever, Devoid, but one of the best landfall triggers. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, that player exiles the top 2 cards of their library, and you draw 2 cards. It's whenever it enters, not whenever they play one. So if they play Explosive Vegetation, you just draw 4 cards.
Yeah. Or if they play a fetch land, you draw, and then they fetch,
It
just 4.
And also just randomly hates on, combos if you can exile key pieces, but that's not as important. I'm mostly focused on what are you going to do? Not play lands? It's just like Consecrated Sphinx. If you can't kill it, I'm going to draw 1,000,000 cards.
Yeah. Awesome. It's such an awesome hit. The card is really, really, really strong in that.
And we're not paying mana for it, preferably. Maybe 1 or 2 of these ends up in our hand, but we're probably trying to just cheat these all.
If we ramp into Garuda in turn 4 or 5, which is plausible because obviously we have 2 mana rocks in this deck.
We need 2 mana rocks because we don't have 1 or 3.
Really important. So you get them out, especially on turn 4. Players aren't going to stop playing lands at that point. They can't.
That would be weird. I mean, they have if the first person has a removal spell, it's just dead. But we're not going to, that's not, the floor of any card is that.
Is Dice removal a good argument? Because I don't think it is.
No.
What's the next one?
They can Doomblade it though.
Ooh.
Thanks to Void. The next card is Massacre Worm. When Massacre Worm enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. Doesn't affect us. Just a nice little infest on a creature with upside.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 6/5, and also when creatures die, any tokens deck is going to get completely demolished by a card like this.
Hosed, nice saplings you got there. They're gone.
Literally happened to me earlier.
It did happen to you earlier. We've played a lot of Magic lately.
Yes, we have.
Glenelender Archmage is next. Why don't you read that one?
Glenelender Archmage is a 2/2 flyer for 4 mana, and you can pay a blue to sacrifice it to counter a non-creature spell.
Well, this seems like the perfect way to protect our giant, huge threats. It also has Persist, so you can do it twice.
I love on top of all this, all these just hits. It's what feels so good about it.
That's the main thing. You can play Garuda as your commander, but then you can play, I want to play Burnished Heart. But you don't get the pure 100% hititude that this deck has.
Hititude.
And if you're building Garuda as your commander, but your whole deck's even anyway, why isn't he just your companion? You can have another commander.
Yeah, it's basically a second commander.
The only thing is, there's some risk if Garuda gets exiled. If it goes to the graveyard, we got plans for that.
Yeah, exactly.
We can counter spells that exile it. I'm not that worried. We still have Lazav as a backup. And we're playing stuff like Jin-Gitaxias, Consecrated Sphinx, and Styre of Stagnation.
Exactly. There's tons of backup plans here.
Not even worried. Next.
It's Atris, Oracle of Half-Truths, which is a 3/2 with Menace, and when it enters the battlefield, an opponent looks at the top 3 cards of your library. Mm-hmm. They create 2 piles, one face down and one face up. You can either choose the face up or the face down pile, and it goes in your hand.
It's just card draw. It's totally fine.
It's just again, this is why I think they're coolest, because it's not one of the best hits.
Yeah, it's like bread and butter filler. Just like Baleful Strix, blue to black for 1/1 flyer, death touch, enters battlefield, draw a card. I don't even know what else to say other than it's a great blocker.
Cool.
Next, what do we got else?
Grave Titan. Now talk about cool.
I don't like this card. I don't think it's cool.
What? I think this card's so cool. I think if this card...
The art is cool. There's zombies pouring out.
The argument for not being good is there. The argument for being cool is not there.
There's just zombies spilling out of them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where are his organs?
Yeah. They're zombies.
That's really cool.
His organs are zombies. It's a 6/6 Titan for 6 mana, and when it enters the battlefield or attacks, you get 2/2 zombies. Also has Death Touch on a 6/6 body. So
part of the classic 6/6 Death Touch group. There's plenty of them. We could probably almost build a 6/6 Death Touch tribal. 5 years down the line.
It'll just be creatures that are too big for Death Touch to ever matter on them.
Oh, we just got one. We got Void Beckoner.
Yep.
We just got another one.
Yeah.
Anyway, this just makes dudes. It's another good way to go wide, or if you're stuck on the combat path, this is going to be here for you. Otherwise, just take something else or don't play it. I don't know.
So. This is here to show you we care about Garuda.
We want the trigger, and we want it a lot.
Yes, and we want it as much as possible. So we're re-triggering Garuda, and how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to start with clones. There's a lot of 4-mana clones, and we're going to go over them. We'll give you the very gist of what they do. I think these are all 4-mana clones. Let me just double check. These are all 4-mana clones, and we're just going to tell you what all these 4-mana clones do.
There's one 2-mana clone, but everything else is a 4-mana clone.
Yes, you're right. So the 2-mana clone, the only one is Phantasmal Image, which is a clone, but it also has the illusion text that if it becomes targeted, it goes away.
Right. So when Garuda enters, you mill 4. Let's say you hit a clone. You hit Phantasmal Image. Okay, well, it enters as Garuda. Legend rule, you got to pick one. Let's keep the original. That goes to the graveyard. And then you get another trigger from the clone entering. So they kind of stack and snowball, and then you just get a million Garuda triggers and either mill your opponent or just get to the point where you have such a crazy graveyard that you can just take advantage of it. Can we just read them? We just run down.
Yeah. Well, let's say I like to say what to do. Clever Impersonator can become any non-land permanent. Evil Twin comes in and it can tap to destroy what it originally was. Gigantoplasm, you can pay X to make its base power toughness become X. Phyrexian Metamorph can also become an artifact, and it costs Phyrexian blue mana.
Sakashima and Spark Double create copies of Garuda that are not legendary, and they stay, so that you can stack Garudas up. And Stunt Double has Flash, Vizier of Many Faces has Embalm, so you can do it from the graveyard or from your hand.
Yeah. So all those are clones, and like every single clone you hit is a new trigger, so you can look for another clone.
And your opponents are milling 4 the whole time.
Yes, and your opponents are milling 4, and sometimes you might hit a clone and go like, oh yeah, but wait, did you just, what is that? Is that Void Steel Colossus? Even though I don't think that card's very good, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll diss it all day, but I'll still take it. Also, you can hit, it is very possible that you hit clones from your opponents. Like, who's not playing Clever Impersonator?
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah, it's a very common blue card to play. Next is Bread and Butter, a flicker card.
Yeah, it's boring, but it's here. It's Deadeye Navigator. We know what it does. Nitpicking is Hall of Fame.
Yes, yeah. You just
Make a million Garuda triggers. Go
Yeah.
absolutely
pay 2
insane.
Pay 2 for a trigger. This card maybe it should have been winning the game because
Maybe it should have. That's going to just kill people.
Don't pay attention to that. No, cut.
Might come later.
No, that wasn't in the second. Hostage taker is what we were talking about.
Oh, yeah, that exiles a thing, and then you can steal it. That's bread and butter.
So what we're doing with this though is we're gonna put Garuda under it.
Oh.
So now if either Hostage Taker dies or we can just play it again next turn.
That's a good way to end the cycle and like protect Garuda.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you gotta do? Board wipe? It's back now.
Yeah, then Garuda goes off and triggers. It's
Sweet. Oh, I like that a lot. Venser, Shaper, Savant can protect Garuda, counter a spell virtually, or bounce a permanent and just get rid of an attacker. Love it.
Yeah, but when you return it, you can return Garuda to your hand if you want.
Or you can return Venser. You can just accomplish nothing.
Yeah, and if you want to accomplish nothing, feel free to accomplish
This is
nothing.
the channel for you if you want to accomplish nothing. Fasa Deep Dwelling is going to flicker Garuda at the end of the turn. Illusionist Stratagem flickers 2 things and then you draw a card. Supplant Form, what does that do?
This is a 6 mana instant. You bounce target creature and put a clone of it onto the battlefield. So we target Garuda, bounce it to our hands, and then make a clone of it.
Board wipe? Not even close. Garuda's in my hand, you idiot. And I had another trigger just for fun.
Maybe you hit something that stays in the field. Maybe you hit Hostage Taker.
Maybe you hit maybe you just hit a Venser and you just bounce something else.
Boom, got him.
Absolutely awesome.
Next one does something very similar. Flood of Tears. It costs 4 blue for sorcery. You bounce all creatures on the battlefield.
Non-land permanents.
Ooh, all non-land permanents back to your hands. If 4 of your things are bounced, you can put one onto the field for free.
For example, let's just pick one randomly. Garuda.
Oh, okay. That's the one I would have chosen.
It was
too.
a 1 in 101 shot.
What are the odds that you would have picked the same as me?
I just told you.
Oh. 1 in 101.
Hello, the host. Do you want more Garudas for no mana other than the first 9 that you pay? This is the card for you. No downside at all. Totally broken.
Yeah, you pay 4, put it on the battlefield, pay 5, put it on your Garuda, and now every combat you get a new Garuda trigger.
That's not legendary.
How is that not
An army of Garudas.
And if every time, and with all these Garuda triggers, maybe you want them twice, Panharmonicon, baby.
Now, the Panharmonicon might be one of the best cards in this whole deck. It just lets you almost guaranteed hit a clone. If we have, 12 clones in our deck, we get 8 looks at a 10% chance, of each one being a clone. Those are good numbers. You might just mill everybody.
Yeah, if you want to make this deck super combo, you can. Because, I didn't put literal clone in the deck. You can just go every single possible clone effect you can get.
Right. Every permanent 2 mana, 4 mana, 6, there's probably terrible 6 mana clones.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, but you can do that. That wasn't, we kind of met in the middle. The met in the middle of the competitive version and the super cool, oh my God, it's Jingataxia's deck.
So with all this we're self-milling. We need some graveyard synergies. Let's get some of those graveyard synergies in here. First is actually, our commander Lazav does that, but also Lazav.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Lazav the Malfurious.
Multifarious.
Oh, the multifarious.
He's not just nefarious, he's multifarious. I'm sure that's not what that means.
He's blue and a black. When he comes down, you surveil 1, and you can pay X to make him copy of target creature in your graveyard.
Maybe even Garuda. If you can copy Garuda from your graveyard and then clone it, now you just have another Garuda.
But that doesn't. Oh, you have Garuda.
You get another trigger, and you can have.
Well, you won't get another. You won't get another trigger because he's not re-entering.
No, you have him become Garuda.
Yeah.
And then you play a clone and clone him.
Okay, that works.
That's the business.
Yeah, that is the business. Animate That and Stitch Together are both. Animate That is an enchantment that enchants something in your graveyard and it comes back.
It's a reanimation spell that stays around.
Yeah, and Stitch Together is black, and you put terror creature from your graveyard to your hand. But if you have Threshold,
Hope we do.
which we absolutely will, because Garuda puts 4 in there.
Yeah.
You put a card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Yeah, creature. It's Garuda if Garuda's not here, and it's Jingataxius or some nonsense if Garuda is around.
These cards are here.
So good.
These cards are very, 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 very much here for one reason. What's that reason?
To get Garuda back?
Yes,
I was
exactly.
like, well,
Yes, that is the
I
main
said
reason in the deck. And they also synergize because the deck does mill lots of cards with Garuda. Whip of Erebos is 4 mana, 2 black for a legendary artifact enchantment.
I kind of want more of those. Those are cool.
And
Because those totally feel like artifact enchantments. Anyway.
you pay 4 black, tap it. You put terror creature from your graveyard onto the battlefield with haste, and at the end step it has exile. So this won't work with Garuda unless we do something like flicker it with.
We exile it, and now we have 2 clauses saying to exile it. We get to choose. I'll pick the one that doesn't get rid of it forever. Thanks.
Yeah.
Also, our creatures have lifelink.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. If you flicker it with Deadeye Navigator, Garuda is now back forever.
Yeah, if you want. You could also choose to have it go away forever.
Actually, speaking of little combos here, one of the big reasons I really did want Whip, besides the fact that, obviously having Whip of Erebos in your deck is great when you're working at the graveyard. Lifelink, because of this next card that I want to mention, Command the Dread Horde.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who cares if Garuda dies? Send your team on a suicide march and then just get everything back.
Yeah, and there wasn't many ways in this deck to gain life, so I figured Whip of Erebos, which is also synergized with the deck, is an awesome way to gain life.
That's pretty cool. One fair warning. Command the Dread Horde and any spell that puts permanents into play all at once, if you put let's say there's no creatures in play and you put 10 clones in play, they're all just dead.
Yeah.
There has to be a thing out before the clones because they cannot clone something that enters with them.
Yes, absolutely be careful of that because they all enter simultaneously, meaning they can't enter as something that wasn't there.
Yeah, that wasn't there, so they can't enter as it. And the last one is Finale of Eternity. So much text that Joe's going to read it.
X black for a sorcery. Destroy up to 3 target creatures with toughness X or less. If X is 10 or more, return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield.
All of them. But that's a lot.
That is a lot. I would agree with you completely.
I think that might be enough to win the game.
Yeah, that might be enough to win the game. You might be right, but we're not going to usually cast it for that. But sometimes you're gonna. There's Cabal Coffers. There's Urborg in this deck. That's a completely.
I'm not saying it's going to happen every time, but maybe it's going to happen every time.
Yeah, it's going to happen every time.
Subscribe to us and find out if it happens every time for you.
Winning the game is the final category.
That's nice, but I don't know if that always translates into winning.
You know what does translate into winning? Probably Deadeye Navigator.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that already.
No, we didn't. No.
Yeah, we totally did.
This is the first time I'm bringing it up.
Oh, well, it's a 6-mana 5/5, and then it flickers Garuda a bunch of times and mills everybody, and then you get everything back.
Yeah, and as long as you keep hitting clones, you keep re-triggering without even doing a flicker after that.
Absolutely nasty. There's a couple more on here. The next 2, they're both even ways to kind of thin out your deck so that you can go off and mill just clones. First one is Trench Gorger. It's 8 mana for a 6/6 Trampler. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for any number of land cards, exile them, and shuffle your library. If you do, its power and toughness becomes the number of lands exiled this way. This is going to thin your deck out by 20 or 25 cards, and then this thing is a 25/25. It's less relevant, but now you can't miss almost.
Yeah.
The only thing left, I would say, that you could hit that you don't want is non-land cards.
How can we get rid of those?
I don't know. I don't think there's any way to do it.
Have you tried Selective Memory?
What does that do?
It's a 4-mana sorcery, and when you cast it, you can go get any number of non-land cards in your deck that you want and exile them.
What a card! That's just pure card advantage right there.
That's just going to win us the game.
Oh, yeah. Well, if we can Trench Gorger and Selective Memory, our whole deck's gone.
Yeah.
Except for maybe one of these 2 cards?
Except for probably just one of them, but we'll start with we'll probably just Thassa's Oracle is when we leave in the deck.
Yeah, blue for a 1/3, enters the battlefield. You sort of scry equal to your devotion to blue, but if your devotion to blue is less than greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, oops, you win.
Yeah. And also the other way is Jace Wheeler Mysteries, which is 1 blue, blue, blue for a Planeswalker. Its static is Lab Man, which means if you withdraw when you have no cards in your library, you win instead of losing.
And it's +1 can draw your card. The rest is whatever. That's just rock solid ways to win. And when we were going through the script, we had to cut a card because we accidentally put an odd card in the deck. And I totally figured out what to replace it with, which is going to be a winning the game card, Altar of Dementia.
Ooh.
You sack a creature and you mill someone equal to the creature's power. If you want to make a big dumb board state and you can't reliably attack with it, okay, just mill you for 40.
Yeah. And also we have Lazav, who cares about milling. So you mill them over and your Lazav becomes their best thing that they have put in their graveyard.
So amazing. There was a rules thing we wanted to bring up with Lazav. What was it? Oh, if you mill them for 4 and you see a sweet creature, but you want it with Garuda and you control Lazav, you can get it with Garuda and have Lazav also become a copy.
Yes. So what happens, for even more detail of that, Garuda is all one trigger. So he mills the 4 all together.
Yep.
Then he puts a creature in before any triggers go on the stage.
Yeah, it doesn't target.
Then for every creature that in your opponents that have hit the graveyard, Lazav has a trigger.
Yep.
And he goes, do you want me to come back? Do you want me to come back? Do you want me to come back?
He's really annoying.
So even the creature that is now on the side end of your battlefield has a trigger for Lazav. And Lazav goes, well, do you want me to become that? And it goes, yes. And it checks if it's different on the battlefield than it was in the graveyard, say it's like a clone.
Trench Gorger would be different.
Trench Gorger would be different. Also, a clone would be different.
Yeah. So anyway.
So Lazav checks what it was in the graveyard before it left. And he's like, okay, now I'm that.
Right. I'm that now. So even, let's say, what if you mill an Eldrazi with Lazav? You still get the Eldrazi?
Those are triggers, yeah.
So you just have Lazav become like an Ulamog.
Yeah.
Just Annihilator Force.
As long as the triggers. Is Blight still a trigger? I mentioned
Blight is a trigger.
Okay, as long as I couldn't remember if it was a trigger. So like, yeah, Blight's still too. It's like because they go to the graveyard, but they trigger. So unlike one of the cards we love, 7 mana, take an extra turn.
Nexus of Fate.
Yeah, that's one of the few cards that does not trigger.
Why?
It just goes.
Why does it not trigger? What is that card? It's so good.
It's such a good card.
Oh my God.
But that's the deck. This deck is super fun and awesome.
Loved it. First companion. I'm kind of thinking of which companion I want to do next because it's like my spirit animal.
This is perfect. It doesn't. I want comments to say what deck do you want next. What either commander or companion do you want from the new set?
I'm thinking like let's have a vote on the companion and we'll just pick it.
Yeah, we'll put it on. You guys can comment on this video also, but I think we're gonna put up a little poll and then go with that
on Twitter. Maybe check it out on Twitter. Well,
no, we can do a poll on YouTube, can't we?
Oh yeah, for our subscribers. So I guess if you want to vote and have your vote like actually matter, because we're just gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Then vote on Twitter.
Yeah,
vote on YouTube and be subscribed because then you'll see it.
There's some I'm not excited for that I wouldn't build personally, but if you guys vote for it, I
don't care. Let's do it. Yeah.
Whatever deck you guys say you want, you're gonna get.
There's plenty of decks that people suggested that were like, oh man, and then we do it and we love it.
Griswold is the perfect example of that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what to do. Oh, it's crazy.
Oh, everything in this deck is actually super awesome.
This is like a circus of value.
It is. It was a circus of value. If they want to support us, how can they do that?
First way, besides the fact that I'm thinking Arby's, I'm also thinking patreon.com/user/nitpicking-nerds, which is us actually. So you can go there and subscribe basically monthly and pledge, $2 is the minimum. Support the channel.
That's not even true. They can actually do $1.
Oh yeah, you could make a custom amount, but the $2 whatever, the minimum tier is how you get into our Discord and talk to us because we're actually pretty fun to talk to and we're on there all the time.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like sometimes I look at Discord like when I haven't looked for like a day and I'm like, I'm so far behind.
That's such a great feeling. Like, oh, there's like 55 people in there that just aren't me. Unlike, on our first days, there was like 10.
Yeah. Our Discord was not very active in the first day. Obviously.
Well, it's like we're sharing memes, we're sharing decks. Everyone's helping each other. So even if we're not even involved, you're still getting help on a deck if you post it. I could go on for minutes talking about this.
And that all the people are awesome in there because they like us. And people that like us are 10% more likely to be awesome.
They're just awesome.
That's true.
There's no disclaimer guide required for that. Also, there's 2 other ways, but you're going to tell them.
The 2 other ways that you can support us is first, you can go to buymeacoffee.com, which is a digital tip jar where you go, you put money in increments of $3, and we take that money out. The link for that is in the description, along with the link to tcgplayer.com, which you can take that link, go to the site, and be like, I want to buy lots of Magic cards. Buy lots of Magic cards. We get kickback.
That's how they're going to say it too.
Yeah.
The link takes you to this deck list. So some of you have to click on it if you want to see what this deck ended up being. While you're there, you might as well spend like, $10,000 and buy some cards.
What's the word I'm looking for? Jubated.
Jubated.
We only want your money.
I can feel the power flowing into me even now. And I think we're done though.
We're definitely done. Peace out, Trap Scout.